No other way to say it, Guy. A terrible 24 hours and awful tough to talk sports today, particularly when a sporting event was at the site of a tragedy here in Boston, where I am broadcasting this week. And I know the images go all over the world and awful quick. Very surreal, though, to be up here and awful close to the bombings this week. And here to talk about it on Trib Live Radio. I don't know, what's the mood in Pittsburgh? Is it also a bit edgy?
Yeah, I think the disbelief, Ken, things, I don't know. You're right. When we have many disasters and major disasters all over the world every day, but I think, those of us that are so immersed in sports there are times where I barely look at the front page of the paper, and that's my own shallowness, I guess. I should be more aware of what's going on, and I'll sit down on Sundays and try to read the whole paper. But when it does strike something at a sporting event, it forces some of us who think sports are the alpha and the omega of life to think about things. I do remember the one time that I had any fear or was really thinking about things were when the Steelers played in the Super Bowl against Green Bay a couple years ago in Dallas. And that had been a tough week anyway with the weather and the ice coming off the Jerry Jones Palace there and injuring those workers and stuff. But about 10 minutes before kickoff, I remember sitting in that stadium and thinking, man, this is probably, despite all the security, as dangerous a place to be right now as there is in the world.
Yeah, and they do a pretty good job at the Super Bowl. We've been to a couple of those here. Fortunate to have that experience with the Steelers, but the searches there are very thorough. I don't know that they're all that thorough even in Heinz Field and PNC Park, and particularly at an event like the Marathon, there's just no way to police the whole thing. Guy, where I am here at my wife's place, and she's up here, and so we're doing the long distance thing for a bit till we get in one location. So that's why I'm in Boston this week, and it seemed like the perfect week to come up here with the Penguins in town on Friday night to play the Boston Bruins. But after our show yesterday, I went outside where her place is at mile marker 24, so we're just 2 miles away from the finish line, and there are massive crowds 2 miles out from the finish line. It's just people lining the street on both sides of it. It's quite an event. Everybody's got off from school. It's Patriots Day up here. The Red Sox are playing. So there's just no way you could possibly have enough security to be checking devices as small as fitting into bags. And it is scary. And, I happened to take the train into Center City. I got out 3 stops north of where the bombs went off at Arlington Station 5 minutes before they exploded. So, that's how close. And you have 250,000 people who have stories like I do that were just, one decision away from being in that area. And obviously these the bombs could have done a whole lot more damage if they were a little bit, I don't want to say smartly planned or more cohesively planned, but it could have been worse, as bad as it was, and the 3 deaths and the unspeakable, loss of limbs and everything else we're hearing.
Well, I think one thing, talking about the Boston Marathon as an event, and, Pittsburgh is a nice marathon, but the Boston Marathon's the preeminent marathon, and we get nice crowds here. I mean, from what I've been led to believe, the whole 26 miles in Boston, the crowds are 3 to 4 deep. There's no, it's a big deal. It's one of the reasons that the elite runners all want to go there and run in that race, and it's a 26-mile area. You're not inspecting people's bags as they go into an enclosed stadium. There really isn't anything to say about how terrible it is, other than actually with only 3 people die. The question that I have, whoever was responsible for this, if they really wanted to maximize, their terror, wouldn't they have done it a little bit earlier? I mean, by the time 4 or 5 hours has passed at the end of the marathon, those are amateur runners. Those are scragglers coming in now. I mean, I wish I could run 26 miles in 4 hours, but you know what I mean? If they would have gone a little bit earlier, it might have been even worse.
Maybe, although, just being down there, I've been down there before at the finish line, it becomes a party throughout the night. And it's, even when these amateurs, as you're calling them, finish, that's almost the more dramatic moments, because they're just average people. These are people that are doing this probably once in their life, or maybe, they're runners and they've done it a few times. But this is an accomplishment of a lifetime. And that's what's kind of cool about it. Even I was out watching. It took me 20 minutes to cross the street here 2 miles away from the finish line. You're allowed to cross where the runners come, but you have to wait for a break in the runners. And there are so many people. I mean, it took me 20 minutes to find enough of a gap to just scat across the road. And there are people from Iowa and Mississippi and California, and all their families are there looking for them to cheer them on, and people were cheering on strangers. So it's that kind of togetherness, and you're seeing the guts and determination of all these runners who are trying to get to the finish line. And sometimes they collapse there. I remember being there in the late 90s when I was in school, and there were people literally crawling over the line just to get to the end because they were just so spent they could barely make it. And these are the people that are at that time. We're talking about 2:50 p.m. yesterday. You're getting toward the last part of the race. So, actually the runners, as far as we know now, not directly affected. It was more the viewers, but still, it's that kind of communal feeling, and it's just a sinking feeling. I was walking in the other direction, at the time when and I didn't hear I was about a half mile away, and I did not hear the explosions. But it's just a sinking feeling when you get word of it, and then all of a sudden people around you are, and you just there's no way to. It just wears on you. The whole night you're watching the news coverage that doesn't seem to be giving you anything new. It's just recycling old stuff, but you're seeing the same images. It's mentally draining, would be the best way to describe it.